What's up everyone, I'm the Kaiju no Kami, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Mill Creek's Blu-ray release of Ultraman Orb, the Origin Saga. As you can see, a slipcase just like the other Orb release. It actually only has 2 discs that are in a tray, no booklet unfortunately, with no episode descriptions and monsters and stuff. That's kind of disappointing, but whatever the case may be, let's take a look at the Origin Saga. Thanks to how successful Ultraman Orb was, Tsuburaya decided to continue the adventures of Orb through a variety of mediums that included books, movies, and miniseries. So Orb has basically become Tsuburaya's version of Kamen Rider Den-O. Great!
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Well, at least he isn't Decade.
Anyway, due to this, Tsuburaya and Amazon came up with the idea of an Amazon Prime exclusive series deemed Ultraman Orb, the Origin Saga. Here, it was advertised to feature the adventures of Orb and Juggler before Juggler wanted some cookies and joined the dark side of the Force.
What we have here is a prequel. Prequels usually contain contradicting plot points, characters that only exist as plot devices for the original to happen, and plots that exist only as plot devices for the original to happen. Or as I like to call it, prequel-itis. Does the Origin Saga suffer from prequel-itis? Let's watch to find out.
The heroes.
Given that it's a prequel, it's assumed you already know who the lead heroes are, Ultraman Orb and Juggler.
Thus, they don't get too much development over the course of the series. The show kicks off with Guy and Juggler climbing atop a mountain to obtain a ring of energy. To Juggler's dismay, the ring chooses Guy and gives him a sword that allows him to transform into the warrior light known as Ultraman Orb.
That's it. The show just starts with them climbing up this mountain to obtain this power to become an Ultraman. How did they learn about this orb to become Ultraman? How did they know they would become an Ultraman? Is this how Ultraman are born? People just go out on this random quest, find this item, they become an Ultraman? Because does this mean anyone can become an Ultraman then? I don't understand. What led them to this? What drove them to this? Why did Juggler want it? Why did guys think he wasn't going to be worthy enough to Juggler? What was their motivation to do this? What is going on? As a prequel, you should answer these questions. I should understand why and how they learned about this ability for him to become an Ultraman. Next thing you're going to do is tell me that this whole frickin' series is a political drama about trade wars and all this crap. Wait. You're not a political drama, right?
Given that this takes place before Guy originally lost his powers, he doesn't have a card-based system to transform as he is his own man. Juggler does get jealous of this, but we're not going to dwell on that aspect as this is barely explored at all throughout the show. Juggler also acts as Guy's mentor. He is quite lousy at his job as Guy ignores practically everything Juggler has to tell him because the show is named after him. So he has to make rash decisions. There's even one point where he asks Juggler for advice and then blatantly ignores it a moment later.
あるものしか見ないから先を読んだ戦いができない。だからサポートがいるんだよ。磁場の乱れが。だから助言を聞け。
Jesus, it's like having a debate on social media.
While all of this is going on between Guy and Juggler, we are introduced to an alien kingdom on the planet Canaan that is under the threat of attack from a crazed psychopath with giant insect monsters as they want the planet's greatest treasure, the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is a giant tree, known as Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, that the citizens of Canaan rely on for prayer and hope. We meet Canaan's empress, Amate, her 2 top guardsmen, Shinra and Raigo, along with 2 bodyguards, Mikoto and Rika.
Damn! Never piss off Space Chun-Li.
Those of you who have seen Kamen Rider Build will recognize Shinra's actor Yasuyuki Miyakawa.
欲しいのは女王自身ではなく、そのお体を流れる王家の血だと。なぜ必要なのかは女王陛下。あなたにはわかるはずだと。
Sai Fukada is Amate.
女王としてこの星をどうすべきか、私が判断します。私は悪魔が作る楽園で暮らしたいとは思いません。
Takaki Inoki is Raigo.
脅迫のことなら心配いらない。対処している。
While Mikoto is played by Ayane and Asuka Shibuya portrays Rika.
アマテ様はその力を望んだわけじゃない。その力を望んで得て戦うために使うあなたとは。戦 戦えば犠牲が出る。女王陛下はそれを許せないの。
Being that she is the planet's empress, Amate's role in life is to protect her citizens by transforming into a giant warrior known as the war deity. She laments this destiny as allowing herself to become the war deity requires her to give up her freedoms, and it means the citizens of the planet may become endangered in the heat of battle. Like with any decision, her followers are split on her duty.
Duty?
It's not that kind of duty.
Shinra believes Amate is correct in there being alternatives to war and does his best to support her decision making. On the other hand, Raigo states she doesn't get a choice in the matter as it is her duty to become the war deity.
その信念を捨てろと命じるのは私の心を殺すことです。
女王は民のためのもの。ご自身の考えは必要ありません。
He will do whatever it takes to ensure Amate takes up her proper role in life, which is about as far as their characters are concerned. As for Rika and Mikoto, they have some good moments with Juggler and Guy. Beyond that, they're pretty one-dimensional.
We do get a flirtatious scene between Mikoto and Juggler, though.
あなたを裏切ったのはやっぱり女性？強いし、かっこいいし、モテると思うし。
That's something, right?
Notice me, senpai! There is a trio of scientists on Earth featured throughout Origin. This group includes Shohei Moriwaki, who is played by Gohan Red's Yasuhisa Furuhara.
And boy, has his acting not improved in the slightest.
あの木は僕が守らなきゃ。
なんで翔平が？
アマテがあの木を命がけで守ろうとしたからだよ。
Yui Nishioka, played by Kira Miyazaki, and their project manager.
He's quite irrelevant as he disappears halfway through the show.
In the first episode, they discover a seed belonging to the Tree of Life hidden within a sunken city that also had a mural of the tree on it. Touching the seed allows Shohei to communicate with Amate telepathically, along with seeing what she sees and feeling what she feels. Most of the scenes revolving around Shohei and his cohorts in the first half of the show feel very disjointed and out of place as they break the immersion of what is happening with Kanan. It isn't until the second half of the show where those scenes have some sort of impact, but ultimately, I feel taking the show to modern day Earth really took away from the series. It would have been fine had it all been set on Kanan and that was it. In fact, it would have really elevated the show for doing something completely different from the norm with Ultraman series. There was no need to drag the show into being on Earth once again. A few older Ultramen show up to assist Guy, which includes Cosmos, Dinah, Gaia, and a ghoul. While I'm not familiar with a ghoul, having 5 Ultramen in one place just made me think of this.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Start it! Let's spin once on this
I'm so sorry.
They're cool, despite acting nothing beyond mere fan service. The villains.
The villains, or villain, is rather pathetic.
There is only one main villain, a man who looks like a shinobi with rubber hands on his head by the name of Dr. Psyche. Dr. Psyche has got to be one of the most awful villains I have ever seen in an Ultra show to date. His ultimate goal is to create a world free of freedom so that wars can no longer happen.
Are you stupid or something? A plan as dumb as that one is never gonna happen!
To make matters worse, the only reason he gets away with causing as much destruction as he does is because the heroes are too friggin' stupid to kill him the dozen or so times they had the opportunity to do so.
私を殺すにしろ捕まえるにしろその前に茶飲み話ぐらい付き合ってくださいよ
That's stupid!
Hell, Shinra confronted him right in the first episode and could have easily taken him out right at the start, which would have ended the conflict right then and there.
あ、ごめんなさい。待って待って、ちょっと待って。私がこう言ったら殺さないでくれる
You're stupid!
It doesn't help that Matoya Izumi had very little to work with, so he portrayed him as best as he could.
Psyche also has a robot sidekick for some reason.
ようこそこの絵隊長シーナさん
As I mentioned before, there is a horde of insect-like monsters known as Bazelles.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
Like any insect group, they are led by a queen, who apparently has a connection to the war deity, which could often lead to Amate making some stupid-ass decisions.
Stop being stupid!
They're a decent set of monsters, and I do like that they come in various sizes, so it does allow the heroes who don't grow big to have some good action scenes as well. A couple of fan favorite monsters return, such as Bemstar, Gessera, and the chicken with testicles hanging off of its face. The effects add music.
Despite only being 12 episodes, the effects in Origin are a mixed bag.
Sometimes they look really good, especially the composite shots found here. And here.
パーテル、私は今度こそクイーンと一つになるよ。
And some of the CGI is not bad. I really like the storm effects used for the opening bits of the show when Guy and Juggler were trying to acquire the Sword of Grayskull. Of course, the amount of CGI backgrounds also made me feel like Tsuburaya was trying to capture the Garo audience, as a lot of the techniques used here felt like they came out of a Garo show. Unfortunately, the CGI takes a downgrade once the show moves to Earth. Clearly the show either had a budget cut or they spent too much money in the first half. Still, not terrible, but could be so much better. I'm also not a fan of the desaturated look of the series, as if they were trying to copy Zack Snyder's style of filmmaking by sucking the color out. It really makes the scenery look bland. Thankfully, the miniature work for the Earth setting remains outstanding, and I do like the camera work for when the tanks are shooting at the Bazelles. As for the soundtrack, I can't say I found anything memorable about Takao Kanishi's composition. It's adequate, I guess.
クイーンと女神が出会うとき、世界は変わる。同じ夢を見ていたんじゃなかったのか、クイーン。
There are two opening and closing songs, which I think is very ridiculous considering this is only a 12 episode series. One for each would have sufficed. The first opening is performed by Daisuke Asakura and Takeshi Tsuruno, simply titled Ultraman Orb. The second is True Fighter by Future Boys. As for the endings, Touch the Sun by Satori Shirashi is the one used for the first 7 episodes, while Voyager's Hoshitachi no Kiseki makes up the second. Just like with the show's score, I can't say any of the themes did anything for me, though part of that could just be that I hardly heard them due to how little they are used compared to the songs on the full-length shows. The episodes.
This is a hard area to talk about because there are only 12 episodes to choose from, and honestly, none of them truly grasped me.
If I had to pick a favorite, it would be the 7th episode, Vertigo. In this one, a character dies that I guess we were supposed to care about despite barely getting to know them, and we get a cool scene of watching Juggler transform into the form we see him have in Orb.
I don't know. It kind of felt like the writers were all like, hey, so I was reading your Ultraman Orb, the Origin Saga scripts, and I noticed something was missing. You guys do remember that Juggler had a monster form, as it were, in Ultraman Orb, right? Yeah, Juggler has a monster form. Of course he does. We're actually working on that detail right now. That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing that then. Of course you should be. That was one of the first things we talked about. We're going to give him a monster form in the next episode that we're working on. We already have the ideas of how it's gonna happen. He's going to be very, very angry and is going to be really, really angrily slicing up monsters. Nice. You guys are doing an amazing job. Everyone is totally happy with your show. Well, thank you. We love working for you.
This whole episode is just a giant battle with probably the best effects the show has to offer and cool action shots. As for my least favorite episode, I'm just gonna say it was the finale. It's very cliche in its execution and does not even tie into Orb at all. Not to mention the way Guy acquires his Orb origin form from Orb is pretty lackluster. Hey, so there was one other thing I kind of noticed was missing from the Origin Saga regarding Ultraman Orb. Oh, and what's that? If you recall, halfway through the show, he got an upgrade form where he got his sword back, and it was called Orb Origin form, and it had black on it instead of red. I was wondering where that's going to come in on this show. The Origin form? Oh yeah, we have a great plan for that. You're going to love what we're doing with that. Oh, you do? That's great to hear, because I noticed it wasn't in the script, but I was kind of thinking, since he gets poisoned in the final battle and is struggling between good and evil, it'd be a great way to have him overcome the poison, have him get the ultimate form, and defeat the villain that way. That'd be a pretty awesome way of doing it. Don't worry, I have the perfect idea of how we're going to incorporate that into the show. Oh, you do? You're going to love it. I am very much looking forward to this. I cannot wait to see how this connects to Ultraman Orb. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Thanks for the kind words, sir. We love working on this show. There is more I would like to talk about, but that would require getting to spoilers, which I'm not going to do, despite it being a prequel. The movie. While the Origin Saga does not have its own movie, there was a follow-up movie to Orb's movie titled Ultra Fight Orb, which Mill Creek has graciously decided to provide us on this Blu-ray set. It's only a half hour long, is plotless, fun, and full of great action scenes. Orb and Zero find themselves under attack from an alien that can resurrect the dead. Resurrection! We get a bunch of Ultra monsters returning, such as Gudon, Twintail, Testicle Chicken Face, and King Joe. As such, Zolfi, Seven, and Jack join in on the fun to battle the creatures while Orb takes on the new villain. Like I said, there's not much in the way of plot, but it's so fun it doesn't matter. From my understanding, it was originally a series of webisodes or something that were later compiled into a movie. Either way, it's worth checking out, especially since it shows off Orb's X and Ginga fusion form, which I mentioned not knowing in the Jeed movie review, along with giving Orb a form that fuses 7 and 0 together. Oh, and 7 and 0 train Orb through Dragon Ball's Room of Space and Time.
俺の能力で作り出した異空間だ。ここでは外の世界と時間の流れる速度が違う。ここで長い間過ごしても外では少しの時間しか経たんわけだ。
The hyperbolic time chamber, for those of you that only know the English dub's terminology for Dragon Ball. Either way, I really wanted to see Mr. Popo actually show up at one point, but they never even actually show you Orb training in this room. It just happens all off screen. And they say, oh, he was training for 10 years, which kind of sucks. But again, apparently it was just a series of online shorts, so whatever. The Blu-ray. Overall, Mill Creek has provided us with a pretty solid Blu-ray release. Video and audio look and sound great in the Origin Saga, though there are some questionable bits in the video of Ultra Orb Fight. Subs are well done with nothing mistimed, and I never felt lost reading a line. The opening and ending songs are not translated. Additionally, there were a few instances where an episode title would appear on screen briefly between lines of dialogue, so if you blinked when the title appeared on screen, you would miss it.
ガイさん、クイーンは
月にはいませんでした。じゃあ一体どこに？
一刻も早くドクターサイキから解放してあげたい。
That was a tad annoying.
で彼女の子供が死んだ。悲劇はもうたくさんだ。そのためにはどうしてもアマデちゃんの協力が必要なんだよ、シンラ君。
Overall, the Origin Saga did suffer from prequel-itis. It doesn't help that the show's characters and plot just weren't really all that interesting to begin with. There was nothing in this show that made me go, wow, I am so glad we got a prequel, or wow, I am so glad to finally be watching this after so much time of wanting to see it. As such, I am going to give the Origin Saga a 2 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. I don't know. Maybe my expectations for this prequel were way too high considering my love for Orb. Or maybe, again, my yearning to see this for so long finally just didn't live up to that expectation either. Whatever the case may be, I'm going to say if there's one release from Mill Creek you can't support of the Ultraman series, this is the one to not buy. I'd still say buy it though, because any lost Toku sale could jeopardize the entire genre. I mean, I don't think that will happen in the case of Ultraman, but who knows? But hell, at least Ultra Fight Orb's worth watching. That's something, right? Overall, you can kind of just skip this one. Until next time, bye.